right. Nice. So tonight or today or whatever time you're watching this or wherever you are, um, and thank you for being wherever you are and for watching. Those are both great things. We're going to do a practice that is focused a little bit more on some kind of calm, deep stretching. We'll still do some, well, all of our kind of traditional physical postures, but we're going to spend a little bit more time exploring just the beautiful release that can happen when we get deeply into a stretch. And often when I do a practice, I'm kind of jumping from one posture to another, so this will be a slower pace. And partially it's because we're at that point in the summer where I don't know if anybody else starts to feel a little like when you finally start to relax and then you're so relaxed. So that's part of it. Also, I've been doing a little bit more Pilates and I'm actually feeling a little bit of soreness from that. So that's also partially why we're going to do this practice. So very similar to doing a yin practice, which this will not be yin because we're not going to hold things for 10 minutes. But keep in mind throughout the practice, as you enter into a posture, once you start to feel that kind of disconnection between the body and the breath, which is usually when your mind starts to spiral. But the minute you start to feel that disconnection, that is your wall, that is your edge. And the yin principle is always that you go to that edge and then you back off. And then you might kind of go back to that edge and you back off. Very different than the Western approach of just go right through that edge, kick it down. Who cares? Like, just get her done. And that's not what we want. We want to just really understand the boundary and then just gently reapproach when and if you feel ready for that. And the whole principle of that is that we want to always work with that principle of union. So body, mind, and breath working in sync. And the minute those three kind of break apart, you know you've gone further than you need to. And it's not a race, it's not a competition. It's just as long as those three pieces can be in union, you are actually going to have all of the beautiful outcomes that you show up for. So that's what we're looking for tonight. If you didn't already grab a towel or a blanket, please do that. And that will just help to adjust with some of the postures and just make sure that the body is as even as possible. So we're going to start tonight. Hopefully everybody's logged in now. And we're just going to start by kind of pushing the week away. As exciting a week as this is, I'm sure, for all of us. But let's just start kind of going within ourselves and just grounding into the space. So sitting comfortably in whatever posture that is for you. Maybe it's just sitting on the sofa. Make sure the chest is slightly lifted, neck is long, shoulders are away from the ears. And just start to breathe deeply and savor the breath. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. You don't have to. And as you're breathing, start to check in with yourself. Just notice where the breath is. Notice where your mind is. Notice how you're physically feeling. Do that all without judgment. And then we'll notice later if anything is shifting. Let's start to open the eyes, just give the shoulders a little bit of a roll backwards. And forwards or forward. I don't know if that's plural. Forward, roll them forward, roll them forwards, forward, singular. Okay, glad we solved that problem. Let's roll them back. And roll them front. That makes it easier. Amazing. Good stuff. We're going to come right up to a standing posture, however you want to make that happen. And then we're going to get some energy flowing in the body. So let's start with our feet, maybe a little bit wider than hip width apart. Just give a little bounce. Shake some of that out. Lots of deep breaths here. Maybe a little bit more. And then feet on the mat. We're going to reach up nice and tall. And as you reach up, you feel the core pull up into the ribs. Take a breath in here. And then as you exhale, start to release it down. Bend your knees when you come down. And then we come back up. Inhale. Exhale, dump the air. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Roll up. Shoulders back. Nice. We're going to do that again. We're going to kind of throw that energy down when you come up. Lift up onto the toe base. See how that feels. If it's uncomfortable or balance is an issue, don't do that. You can just come right back up. But let's try the down and then up on the toes, really waking up those calves. So we'll start here. Big breath in and exhale down. Inhale up onto the toes and down and up and down and up and down. Breathing in and out. Couple more. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And let's roll up. Shoulders roll. Beautiful. Opposite arms. Make sure you have space. I was worried I was going to whack a wall. And I like to add a little bit of a twist when I'm doing this. Looking from side to side, if that feels good. And increase your range of motion with fingertips going higher. And then slow the pace. And then just take it into just a gentle side to side. Good. And then roll those shoulders back into a great position. Nice. Standing nice and tall, ground into one leg. We're going to lift the other leg up. So we haven't set our balance really. So just be mindful, lift that leg up. See if it's comfortable to kind of grab a hold and then hoisting it up, shoulders come back. Really deep breaths are needed to support this posture. Smiling helps. And very slowly releasing down. Make sure the shoulders stay in the back body. We're going to lift the other leg up. Again, hoisting it up, shoulders back, tight through the core. Is this side harder for balance? Because it is for me, definitely. Slowly releasing down. Roll your shoulders back. Take the first leg back behind. So to do this, I bring my shoulder right around. That allows us to hold on to the foot. If this is not comfortable, you could just bend the leg like that. You could use a strap, you could use a towel. But think about keeping that shoulder rolled back, creating a little bit of an arc. So we want to deepen the breath. This is a fairly intense stretch for that quad. And slowly releasing. Let's go to the other side. So again, I'm going to roll that arm back. If you just go like this, it's not great on the shoulders. So we come all the way back. So find how this posture is comfortable for you. And do a quick check-in. We were talking earlier, or I was talking at you earlier, about body, mind, breath. So right now, where's your body? Is it wobbly? Which is okay. And if it is wobbly, can you calm it with the breath? And is it the body that's wobbly, or is your brain going, what's for supper? Or is it cocktail hour? So figure out kind of what the weak link is and give that some love and see if you can bring everything together. We'll release. Good. Shoulders roll back. Once again, lift the leg up in front. Hoist her up. If you can, ankle circles one direction. And the other direction. Releasing. Let's do the other side, lifting up. Secure, get the breath flowing deeply, then add the challenge, which is the circle. Switching directions. And releasing. Nice. So we're not going to do the ankle circles behind. Don't worry. Again, shoulder comes back, find a foot. Let's take one hand in front of the heart. So we're doing a little bit of a half mudra. And if you want to lean into this a little ways, kind of thinking about dancer pose, you could do that. Just a little hinge forward. Think I'm a little teapot. Although this is not a great spout when we're holding it by the heart, but that's okay. Let's come up, release the foot, moving to the other side. Maybe hinging forward here. Think about those transitions, right? When you start to move, especially in a balanced posture, notice if you hold the breath or if you kind of breathe through the motion. Spoiler alert, you want to breathe through it, but we're not always there. Let's come up and releasing. Good. Shoulders roll back. Okay. So one of the kind of deep stretches that we're going to do tonight is a downward facing dog. Yay. But we're going to do it as a wide-legged down dog, which is why I'm standing like this. And for the wide-legged down dog, it's a great posture because anytime you're in down dog, you get this wonderful traction, right? That the weight of your head when it's hanging down is just creating space along the cervical spine. And it's really, really a beautiful release of stress and tension. It's also good for our brains to be upside down. So that's a real benefit. But often in downward dog, people have difficulty in the posture because their wrists might be sore or elbows. So when we turn it into a wide-legged posture, you're holding the weight in different spots. So primarily using your hips, using your glutes, and really relying on the quads. So to do this, and if you're not familiar with the posture, I'll show you what it looks like from the side. So I'm going to take a really nice wide stance. This might not go well with one foot on the mat and one not. We'll see. So for the posture, I like to sweep up to begin. So I'm going to forward fold down. Now we haven't done any hamstring openers, so you're going to be tight. That's okay. So you're going to come down to the floor. And then you're going to be walking your hands forward a few steps. And then you roll back into the hips. So you're kind of forward to begin, and then you're going to roll back into the hips. So really there's hardly any weight on the arms, and then the head can just hang. To release, we walk back. We're going to be rolling up. But it really is about find the floor, roll or push back into those hips. I know years ago when we would do this in person, often I would kind of come around and be just like push into the back a little bit more, like just let yourself go back further. So play around with it, see how it feels. So let's start with that nice wide stance. We'll do this together. Sweeping up nice and tall. Feels so good to stretch. And then very gracefully swan dive forward. Find the floor. Walk the hands forward as far as you're comfortable. Be mindful that things you're standing on could slide. And then roll or push back into the hips. If it's comfortable, you can point your toes in. Just breathe deeply and see how the posture feels. Maybe push back into it a little bit more deeply. And then walk your hands back. Start to roll up bit by bit by bit. Let's reach all the way up into the air. Let's lean into one side, nice side body stretch. All the way up. Let's do the other side. And up. And then gently releasing, and hands come to the heart. So take a moment, let's keep the feet where they are and just breathe into the posture, hands to the heart. This is where you can kind of have that internal conversation with yourself, really seeing how things felt. Maybe you enjoyed that, maybe you didn't, maybe something has to shift. But allow yourself the time and the space to kind of just get a sense of how that went. All right, so let's do that again. We're going to sweep up all the way, nice and tall, lengthen here. And then a gorgeous swan dive down. Hands come to the floor wherever they end up, and then you walk forward. My hands are about shoulder width apart, not further. Roll back or push back into your hips. Let that head hang heavy. If your knees feel better a little bit bent, you can certainly bend them. If you want to play around with straightening the legs, you could do that. Let's walk the hands back. Gently, slowly rolling up bit by bit by bit by bit. All the way up. to the sky. Let's take one wrist, pulling over the midline, all the way up, into the midline, or over the midline, I guess, all the way up and releasing to the heart. Beautiful. Let's add to this. So from where we are with our leg and foot position, I'm going to move a foot out on an angle, nice and tall. I'm going to move the back hip back a tiny bit, a little bit of a sassy hip. Arms come out from the heart, not the shoulders. And with this hip back, I'm going to look at this hand, my front hand, over the middle fingers, and I'm just going to lean into this a ways. I'm going to lean a little bit more and move my hand because I'm going to hit the wall. And then we're going to move into a triangle. So with both legs straight, gripping the floor with your hand, just move into a triangle. So my front leg is really tight, which means my knee wants to bend. I'm going to intentionally straighten it. If you're not in a posture where your hand is further down, just make sure that the back of your hand is pressing against the inside of the leg. And if you're kind of folding forward, just externally rotate, stack those hips. And if your arm is kind of back here, you could try going up and around. Tight through the core. Let's lift back up. I straightened my foot. My hands come together. We're going to float down. Hands to the floor, walking forward and then pushing back into those hips. So we're now back in the wide leg downward dog. Breathe a lot. Walk the hands back. Rolling up. All the way to the sky. Let's just open the arms beautifully here. I'm going to rotate my palms down. I'm going to shift that front foot. Hip comes back. I lean it a little ways. And then I'm going to hinge over, sinking into my triangle. So on this side, I'm definitely leaning in. So I might want to come up a little bit higher. Just kind of trying to negotiate this a little bit. You should feel like your hand, the back of your hand is pressing to the back of you. Deep breath in. Exhale, tight through the core, coming up. Straighten the foot, connect the hands. Reaching up to the sky and then swan dive back down. Walk the hands forward. Roll back into your hips. Let that head hang in space. Walk the hands back. We're going to slowly roll up. Bringing the arms all the way up. Same as before, opening to the side. I'm going to rotate that front foot out. This time, bending into a lunge. I'm going to drop my back arm, front arm comes up. So we're lengthening here, starting this really tight posture. We're not leaning back yet, just reaching up. Take a couple of breaths, maybe sinking down deeper. Maybe deeper. And now if it feels comfortable, really reaching up so we create space in the side body and then leaning back. Now check in with your breath. If you want a deeper stretch, grab that hand and pull it over just with a little bit of the weight of that back arm. And then bring the arms up, straightening. Straighten the foot. Sweeping up. Swan dive forward. Walking forward with the hands, rolling back into the hips. This should feel familiar. Walk your hands back, rolling up, reaching up to the sky, arms open. I'm going to rotate that front foot, move into a lunge, drop the back arm, front arm comes up. And just take a moment here and really enjoy the side body stretch. We don't tend to do in our normal day-to-day a lot of side body stretch, and it can feel so good. So I'm sinking a little bit deeper here into my lunge because that feels good for me. If it doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. And now I think I'm ready to just let that arm come back. A little bit of surrendering here. And if you want, you could reach to that hand a little bit more. Keep the breath flowing deeply. And then gently releasing. Let's straighten the foot. Sweep the hands up here. Heck, we'll do one more time coming down. Find the floor, walk the hands forward, roll back into your hips. So I'm going to take a moment and push back further into the hips, kind of get the last bit of stretch out of this. Feel your shoulder blades moving closer together, kind of shoulders are externally rotating. And then walk the hands back, slowly rolling all the way up. We're going to reach up. And let's bring everything to heart center. Nice. Walk your feet back or step them back or do whatever you need to do. They're probably shouting at you a little bit right now saying, holy cow. So with that in mind, let's come down to the mat. I'm gonna have a sip of water first. All right, wonderful. Okay. This is where I'm gonna move over a little bit. I'm back into that. What a shame for me. I'm like, oh, the sun is so bright. I'm so grateful for bright sunshine. Oh my goodness. So we're going to take a moment and come into a really nice forward fold that's modified. And the modification takes it into kind of a variation of a tree pose. But that's where a little bit of a towel or a blanket will come in handy. And then we're going to do a similar posture on our backs on the floor. So we're kind of taking that one leg straight, one leg bent concept, and then experiencing it in different kind of formats. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to keep my right leg forward. You can use whatever leg you like, but we want one leg forward. My left leg is bent and my foot is kind of from my knee up along the thigh. If we were standing, you would never want to have the foot anywhere close to the knee, but we're not standing. So there's no risk of losing our balance and popping the patella out of position. So we're fine here. Take your towel or blanket or cushion, or you could even do it with your mat, rolling it over. And what I want you to do is provide a little bit of support under that bent knee, just enough so you feel that there's an opening, but you're not feeling that you're unable to balance. And we want to have a good connection to the floor from both of your sits bones. So basically your butt bones, you should feel like they're plugging into a wall socket. That might actually take a lot of imagination to visualize that, but that's if you have the skills, go for it. Okay, I'm sitting here with my foot flexed because it was flexed. I want to start to think about coming forward into a fold. I want you to think about moving straight down as if there was a second straight leg here. That's what I'm trying to say. So we're coming forward. We're not going to the side. We're not going to the side. We're going to come down. And you're only going to come down as far as you're comfortable with. We're not looking for like chin on the shin, just whatever feels good. So to begin, let's start by bringing the arms up into the air. So we're going to lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. This is when you want to flex the foot on that front extended leg. Maybe take a nice deep breath in, tighten through the core, and then start to fold forward until you feel like the hamstring is just not going to be your friend anymore. And then soften through the arms. Let your shoulders roll forward. The head can tip in a little bit. Take a couple of breaths here. The leg is still flexed. And then soften that foot, soften the leg, and just hold and breathe. As you're breathing, you might feel like sinking in a little bit more deeply, but you don't have to. Just make sure the breath can be really deep and fluid. And just let the body rest. Slowly start to pull back, rolling the shoulders. And when you come up from this posture, think about what's happening. A pose like this, when I come back out of it, I feel that beautiful sense of like a little bit of that yoga stoned kind of headspace. And it's nice to just sit with that and breathe. Good. So we're going to do that once more. This time, if it's comfortable, and it might not be, we're actually going to reach towards the foot. So last time my hands kind of came down on either side of the knee, but this time we're going to reach forward a little bit more. And I am so sorry tonight that Jeff has taken up his spot tonight, but he's behind my camera and he is just curled into a little blanket on a footstool, and oh my gosh, he looks adorable. So I'm sorry you're missing this. Although I guess Ted joined me and I didn't really notice that. Anyway, just was distracted by absolute cuteness. Oh, fabulous. Okay, focus. Yes. So we're going to do that again. I am going to reach towards the foot. If you only get partway to the foot, that's still amazing. So let's sweep or reach the arms up really nice and tall here. Flex your foot on the extended leg to begin. Reach, 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 reach. And then we keep pulling through the fingertips as we start to come forward. And I am grabbing that foot. And then softening into this, breathing a lot. Do 2 more breaths. And rolling up, roll your shoulders. Beautiful work. Okay, let's move to the other side. So bring the leg out. I'm going to move slightly because of that sunshine. So when I come into this figure four on the other side, I immediately notice how much space is under this leg, which says to me things are really uneven. And that's for a whole bunch of reasons. For me, it's because I'm a side sleeper, always on my left side. And also when I sit for long periods of time at my desk, at my day job, I usually lean onto the left hip. So all of these things combine to make us a little bit uneven that way. And that's why it's great to use props, because it's not always about evening out the body. Sometimes it's just about bringing comfort so we can enjoy a nice relaxing stretch. Okay, so we're flexing through that foot. Reminder, we're coming forward this time as if there were another leg there. I'm going to move the bum flesh out of the way so I have that nice connection between the two sit bones. And then we are going to stretch up into the air, reach, reach, reach. Big breath in. You're almost pulling up out of the pelvis, and then you start to fold forward, still reaching through the fingertips as you start to come down. And then this time my hands are going to rest on either side of the knee. Shoulders are rolling forward. Foot is going to start to soften. Nice deep breaths here. Do 3 more breaths. Slowly pulling back up, roll your shoulders. Beautiful. I'm going to flex that foot again, reaching up to the sky. Reach, 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 reach. Pulling up out of that pelvis, and then we're going to hinge forward, reaching through the fingertips. This time I'm coming towards that foot. Find whatever connection point works for you and then soften into this pose. Two more breaths. And let's roll all the way up. Roll your shoulders. Beautiful work. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the floor and we're going to set up in a similar fashion. What I want you to pay a lot of attention to is making sure that your iliac crest, so the hip bones that kind of point out of your hips, you want to have those even. And it's really hard to tell if they're even. I mean, if you're with somebody else, they could tell you, but you want to get that feeling that that pelvis is totally even when you're on the floor, completely balanced. And again, we're going to do that with a little bit of a prop. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to have a leg extended. You're probably going to need a little bit more of the prop, a little bit more thickness. And this time my leg's going to bend and then come out to the side. And you can tuck your towel in. I like to tuck it in right under the hip as opposed to under the knee, if that makes sense. But see what feels good for you. And again, think about where the pelvis is. So I'm kind of poking around at those iliac crests and I'm like, you know what? I'm not balanced at all. So I'm going to add more support. So play around with this. If this does not feel good for you, the other position that you can do is you could just take one leg out to the sides, or you can have one leg bent and one leg straight. But if you can give this a shot for a few breaths, go for it. Really deepen the breath here as much as you can. This is an intense posture. And then to release, slide your hand under that bent leg, move it up to center. And then we're going to bring the other leg to a bent position. Stretch out the original bent one. The newly bent one comes out to the side, so create your figure 4. And again, make sure you have as much of a lift as you need. It's amazing. So I haven't done this posture in a long time. Oh my goodness. And I can remember at one point in my life, at least, where I didn't need any support under hip or knee. Tonight it is all the support, and the support of that supports friends. Take some big breaths. And then slide a hand under, push that leg up, pull the other leg back. Let's do knees to tummy. So pull the knees in, gently rocking or just staying in place. Let your shoulders come back into the floor. Breathe a lot. And keep breathing in this posture. And then in whatever way is comfortable for you, usually I can transition things a little bit better. Actually, you know what? I can. It's like, we're going to go from this onto our bellies, but there is a way to do it, which is not just me on your screen flopping around like a flopping thing. So I'm going to move to a seated posture first. And from here, I'm going to move on to the hands and knees. And from here, I'm going to move the hands forward, drop to the forearms, and then just slide into a Sphinx pose. So for the Sphinx, and let this be a lazy Sphinx. So for the Sphinx pose, we've got our hands together. The forearms and the elbows are really kind of lifting the chest up. Just experiment with how this feels. And then gently lowering down to the floor. Before we move into Cobra, make sure that your legs are about hip width apart. Tops of the feet are pressing into the floor. Pelvis is pressing into the floor as well. We're going to bring the hands back kind of on either side of the armpits. And the elbows are pulled back and arms are pulled back tightly along the sides of the body. Spread your fingers wide. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, just lift up a little ways. You're not using the hands too much. You're just flying up here. And then exhale, head turns to one side. Inhale, lift your baby cobra. Exhale, head turns to the other side. Inhale, head comes up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Let's do a couple more of these. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Good. You can release the hands and the arms. Cross them over so you've got kind of hand on hand, and rest your cheeks on the hands. And take a few breaths here while letting your heels flop out to the sides. And then straighten the legs. Straighten the head, hands come back. We're going to flip our toes under, push up, and then we're going to move onto the hands and knees. And then I'm going to just push back onto my feet. So I want to do, for our last kind of deep stretch of the night, I want to do a really great release for the hips and actually for the TFL, the tensor fascia lata, which is deep within your hips. So sometimes when you get hip discomfort, that's what it is. This is a stretch that does require a little bit of balance. So if you've got something around you that maybe you can hang on to, that would be wonderful. You're definitely going to want to have some padding. So make your little knee support here. So I'm going to move my knees on here. And what I'm going to do is, I've got a hand on a piece of furniture beside me. So step a foot forward. So we've got this beautiful 90-90 alignment. And then you're going to take that front foot and move it actually in front of that knee. So you're not out to the side, you're actually in front. And then what I'm going to invite you to do is just push forward. So you're actually kind of tucking under through the tail. You will feel the stretch through the back leg, through the hip flexor. So just kind of roll forward, shoulders are back, chest is proud. Take a breath in. And exhale, just kind of make those hips neutral. Let's go again. Inhale, forward. So we're tucking under, lengthening up. Exhale, releasing that. Inhale. Maybe more lift here. Exhale. Release once more. Inhale. Scooping under, lengthening, shoulders come back. And releasing. Good. Let's switch sides. So bring that other foot forward, and then you're just going to move it in front of that back knee. You've got something for support. And again, we're kind of doing that scoop and lift. It's really subtle. You will feel it though, I hope, in a good way. So let's go. We breathe in. So we're rolling under, lifting up. And exhale, release. Let's go again. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. Inhale here. Lift, lift, lift. Really feel that hip Turning under and up. And then exhale, release. Release that. Good. And then let's just do a regular 90-90, step the other foot forward. Kind of similar, but this time we're just going to rock forward. So let's inhale, rock forward one. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Do one more inhale. Maybe bring the arm up. And release other side. Maybe you don't need balance support for this. It's up to you. We have the feet and leg hip width apart this time, if I wasn't clear before. So let's inhale, just rock forward and back, forward and back, forward. Maybe an arm joins, maybe it was the other arm, I can't remember which one, probably this one. And then releasing. Good stuff. Okay. Bring yourself down to the floor. Now, with that towel handy, or blanket, or a cushion, roll it up. Because for the Shavasana, we're going to put it under the knees. So come on down to your back. And it can be under the knees, or maybe it can be just kind of under the thighs, but create a little bit of support. Roll your shoulders back. If it feels good, you could bring the arms over top of the head, arms bent at the elbows. See if you can encourage your feet to flop out to the sides. And then just breathe. Start to deepen your breath and just notice how your body is feeling. If you are clenching the butt cheeks, relax them, release them. Move the arms down to the sides of the body and maybe just move your head from side to side, shoulder to shoulder. And then bring one knee up to the tummy, bring the other knee up. Let's hug them in. I'm going to do a spinal twist here. If it's comfortable to make cactus arms, you could do that. And then just lower the legs to one side of the floor. Head turns in the opposite direction. If you can, if you can have both shoulders on the floor, well done. That is not me tonight. Use all of your deep breath here. And then slowly bring those knees back to center. The head will also come to center. And then explore the other side. Let's bring those knees back to center. One more amazing hug before moving up to seated. Just taking a moment to breathe deeply. I'm enjoying the sunshine. I hope everybody got to see the moon last night. Boy, oh boy, it was so bright where I was. I mean, it was shockingly bright, but it was gorgeous. So as you breathe, notice how you feel. Notice if things have shifted from the beginning of the practice. And then as you enjoy the rest of your evening or the rest of your day, think about how the deep stretches that we've done can create space. And sometimes with great space comes great ideas. I hope that happens for you. If it does, do good things with those great ideas and enjoy what you can come up with. Namaste. I can't wait to see folks next week and enjoy your long weekend that's coming up.